Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As you're well aware, the Police Department of Australia has been cracking down on small business owners trying to masquerade as entrepreneurs. Today, we are happy to announce our first arrest in this case. Mr. Kambouris is the first scapegoat to come under the heavy arm of the law, as he has been masquerading, carrying on like a big shot entrepreneur when he is merely, in our opinion, a small business owner. This cannot continue in our society. We hold this very seriously, and as such, we've apprehended him for further questioning.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Turn around. Right, this is a mug shot. Stop fidgeting, mate. Alright. Righto, hot shot.
Multi-million-dollar business owner, you treat me like this. It's no
We'll
good.
see. We'll see. Get in front of the right in front of the camera.
Someone just getting my coffee?
If you can prove to me that you're a true entrepreneur, I'll get you a coffee.
How am I supposed to do that?
Well, there's a number of things you can do to prove that you're an entrepreneur. We don't think you've done any of them. Entrepreneurs have a keen sense of they can grow a business. They have a keen sense of opportunity recognition. They look at succession planning and exit strategies, and they find innovative sources of finance. Cambo, we don't think you've done any of these things, and that's why you're here with us today.
Well, I don't think you've actually looked into it properly. I've done all those
Cambo.
things. Oh, my lawyer!
You two, out, now. Come on, out you go. You know you're not allowed to talk to my client without me here. Alrighty, I hope you haven't said anything to them.
I had to say a few things, mate.
No, keep your mouth shut. I've had a look over all the charges. They've got nothing, right? Nothing.
They're just gonna keep going the way they're going.
They're going to give you a hard time. That's what their agenda's all about at the moment. They're trying to crack down. You knew this could, you know.
Can you bargain with them to get me my coffee?
Well, I'll see what I can do, but these two are hard asses. Just don't want to we'll be out of here. Keep your mouth shut. So
They seem to have got some pretty solid charges though.
no, they're just ramping it up for the cameras. It's all about making good image to me.
Right then, gentlemen. Alright, that's your 10 minutes. That's all you get by law. Okay. So, for the record, today it's 16th of May 2013. We have, this is the charge for interrogating Mr. Kambouris under the conviction of masquerading as an entrepreneur when he's merely a small business owner.
Mate, I'm an entrepreneur. He knows I'm an entrepreneur.
Well, we'll get to that, Mr. Kambouris. So,
Allegedly.
thank you. So, for the record, we
I'm
have
Constable Lee.
Mr. Constable Lee, myself, Constable Bryden, of course, Mr. Kambouris.
I just find it funny. I just really do it for that.
Oh, that's obvious. That's obvious, Kambouris. Yes, we've heard you're quite a comedian. And sir, your name?
Mr. Pestel.
Mr. Pestel. Okay, so we'll get started on the line of questioning. You'll be expected to answer all of our questions today. It's in your best interest to do so. And basically, if you don't answer the question, we'll end up in court anyway. So it's in your best interest to answer the questions.
Well, come on, guys. We've got things to do.
Fire away, boys.
What do you say?
I just got to go run my business. Well, you guys are on a wage of around 70,000 a year, so.
So based on the law, entrepreneur is someone who innovates and creates. What have you got to say about that? You haven't innovated, you haven't created anything. I don't see anything patented to your name.
Well, the entrepreneur definition. To be an entrepreneur, you don't have to stick by the definition. There's parts of the definition that I have stuck by, but not exactly that part, innovating or creating.
No, but look at growth, sales, all of those things. Clearly an entrepreneur.
So you think that's innovative?
Doesn't have to be innovative.
Or yeah,
Innovative in the way you
What's-
sell it.
So what's innovative about it then?
looking at the growth options that I've been involved in.
Which growth options?
solar heating when I'm in an electrical company. I sell through Ticketmaster, those kind of
Ticketmaster.
selling products. So
I didn't realise that. Were you Mr. Lee?
Well, from my investigations, we only heard that you just took a bit of business from your dad in the 60s.
So your dad was in this first, and so you've just taken over from him. So he was the entrepreneur. That's what. That's
You don't read anything,
That's
are
the
you?
information.
Hey,
that we
yeah,
got.
yeah. I don't know where you guys are getting your information from, but that's not true. All right, Mr. Kambouris here.
Daddy's boy.
would you like me to explain myself, or are you going to keep
Go on,
going
man.
to-
Go on, man.
Alright, basically, my father started in 1969 in the industry. And he started a business called Mitchell's Retrovision with him and his partner. From then on, I worked in that store, and I decided to myself, what am I going to do next? My father and his partner went their separate ways and sold their business. And then I decided I was going to open my own store. And from then on, I called it Kambouris. I started off in the first year of around with a turnover of around 2 million, which was pretty good back then. But now I'm at a business revenue of around 120 million a year. So I'm not sure where you're getting your facts from, boys. But like I said, I started my own business.
His own separate business. His dad had finished up.
Look, I may have learned the tricks of the trade from my old man, but I started my own business.
Yeah, this is new information to us. I think what I have heard though is, one of the things entrepreneurs do is that they tend to pick up their entrepreneurial spirit from their parents. And it sounds like you, in this regard, it does sound like what he says, it makes sense. On that regard, I would say that's an entrepreneurial trait. But nevertheless, that's only the first part. There is much more that you need to cross off before we even consider you anything other than a small business owner.
Secondly, how am I a small business owner when my company generates over 120 million a year?
It's always been a small business, yeah, that's not too bad. But, what other questions have we got? So,
How do you start this business?
Sorry?
How do you start this business? How do you get the capital to start?
The financing, is that what you're talking about?
financing, yes.
Look, I don't think we need to go into his finances.
Well, I'll tell you what,
Classified.
entrepreneurs have, it's got traits about the way they go about getting their finance.
How about I ask
Did you, you could have, for all you know, you probably inherited this money from your dad, and then you just dropped in straight into the job, and you're a ready-made millionaire.
We've got you
Entrepreneurs.
in now, we're going to ask you everything we want. And if we find out that you have sourced money legally, we're going to charge you for that as well. So think carefully and answer carefully.
Before you guys start pinning me and asking questions on all these things that you haven't done your research on, maybe you should have a look at the bank transactions of the past decade. Obviously, I took a bank loan out, and from them, such things as debt financing, and what was the other thing?
Just debt finance.
Just debt financing. That's where we should.
And Darcy Lawyer. Oh, okay. Fair, it's interesting.
Are you sure?
Just for the record, we've seen your bank accounts, Mr. Kambouris. We're fully aware of your undertaking.
You've seen my bank accounts, but you haven't done the company history on the website. Is that okay?
I'm not interested in your website, Mr. Kambouris.
You're not.
No, not in the slightest.
Fair enough.
But so you're saying you're debt financing?
Are you sure is that it? You didn't sound too convinced about your own answer. You have to refer to your
No,
lawyer.
no, strictly debt financing.
So it's not particularly entrepreneurial. I wouldn't say that's an entrepreneurial way of. I wouldn't say that distinguish you from a small business owner, Mr. Kambouris. So we can't classify you as an entrepreneur based on that, the fact that you've used debt financing. So I'm sorry about that one.
Well, I think, as you would both be aware, debt financing gives the best control, makes sure the entrepreneur can lead the business in every sense, and they don't have to share that control with any other partners.
You're telling us you're strictly debt finance. You haven't used any other means. You haven't spoken to family, friends, and you haven't canvassed money through other business partners. You haven't used inventive ways of coming up with your finance.
All you need to know is that I've been financing through the term debt financing from my bank, and that's all you need to know.
I mean, debt financing does carry with it significant amounts of risk.
And I think you guys need to remember, back when Mr. Kambouris started this business, the idea of crowdfunding, angel investors, equity partners wasn't all that common. The bank was the way we did things. They were a trusted source of of capital, and they had clear set terms. As long as you paid the interest, you could retain control, and that's what Mr. Kambouris wanted. He wanted total control over his business. Right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
So what's so special about that that makes it entrepreneur? It's nothing different from me getting a mortgage or someone else getting a
it's
loan
what my
from the
client's done with that money that makes it special. It's the
okay.
way he's transformed that money into a successful business
And how has he done that?
through the sale of electrical retail goods.
That's exactly right, mate.
So maybe we might move on. Now, opportunity recognition has been recognised as a way of distinguishing entrepreneurs from small business owners. Now, small business owners don't particularly show a massive amount of flair in this area. Small business owners might take over a deli and stock food the same as the guy down the street. Now, entrepreneurs are people, by definition, find opportunities that other people don't find to give themselves a competitive advantage. What have you done, Kambouris?
That's Mr. Kambouris to you, mate.
I'll call you Kambouris until you've proven yourself worthy.
Alright. With regards to opportunity recognition, I've opened a lot of markets such as the, like I've already explained,
Solar.
Solar. We got in there quick. We realised there was a market for it. We sold it off, and when the government put their rebate on, we got out. We recognised that it was a true opportunity for the business. From that, we made a lot of money.
Quite risky.
Quite risky, but a good opportunity.
So you weren't deterred by the risk.
No.
There you go, trade of an entrepreneur right there.
Went with my gut.
Happy to take the risk for profits.
And you made profit from this?
Yes, I did. I will not tell you exactly how much I made.
What do you think, Mr. Lee?
I don't know. If you can explain to me in brief what your strategic plans in terms of growth is, might be able to try and convince me that way.
You've mentioned one. You've mentioned one aspect, solar. I mean,
It's
there
barely
were
enough
lots of
to
people
prove
in
me that-
solar, and you know that on itself, by itself, wouldn't convince me that you are indeed an entrepreneur.
How can you say?
What else have you got? I mean, think before you mentioned something, ticket, something or other.
Ticket run.
Are you
What's-
making
what's
all
this?
this up?
What's
Trying
it-
to get yourself under some trouble?
Have you
or-
seen any?
Of course not.
Have
Have
you
you
seen?
guys looked into his business?
Have you seen any other electrical retail store in the Perth metropolitan area selling electrical appliances, selling solar, selling tickets through Ticketmaster,
With a
AFL
cafe.
football matches?
Cafe,
Cafe.
creches. I mean, this is a level of service that you don't see in any other business.
We recognise that when customers want to come in,
Yeah.
when customers want to come into our store, they want to feel at home. So they're able to go and have a coffee, they're able to take a break and have a bite to eat while they shop. So that's why we've adopted the cafe, and they also want to come in and buy tickets to their favourite AFL game, cricket matches, soccer matches, so we've adopted that as well. So how can you say that I'm not an entrepreneur based on the fact that I'm not looking into opportunities when clearly I am?
And is Ticketmaster in a electrical retailer?
But he really hasn't really answered my question. How have you grown? Do you have a plan or you just let it fly?
I don't think his expansion plan is any of your business, detectives.
Oh,
it
yes.
is. It's part of how I decide if he's an entrepreneur or not.
If you
This
must
is
know.
key facet.
So you're looking into franchising as of late? It's a double growth through franchising in the last 24 months.
So have you got, how many stores have you got? Have you got one shop? How many have you got?
Well, to be honest, I own two superstores. One located in Cannington and one located in Malaga. They are my two stores. I have two superstores as well as 4 franchises.
Four franchises.
Spread over the
Yep.
Perth metropolitan area.
So what makes your superstore different from anyone else's store? Is it just because you own it and you decide to call it a superstore?
These are not your corner retail stores, boys. These are massive, massive stores offering homewares, electrical retail, as we said, cafe, Ticketmaster, creche. I mean, these are destinations unto themselves.
And what about your other franchises? Do you know anything about them? Why are they not superstores?
My franchises actually run their business based on what I have to offer, my decisions. However, it is under another person's name. And in fact, if we get on to the questions that you're going to ask me with regards to why I'm an entrepreneur, I'll be able to tell you that.
So I would think expanding and setting up the franchise would have taken a fair amount of work.
That's exactly right. That's why I've been in this business for over 40 years.
So Just to leave. I mean, franchising, you had to set that up. That wouldn't be an easy feat. And so as far as growth goes, that would probably satisfy the bill as an entrepreneur. So we've spoken about the financial side of things. I wouldn't mind getting back to growth, because at the end of the day, what makes you any different to Good Guys or Harvey Norman? All these guys are doing the same thing. I mean, fair enough, they might not have a Ticketmaster, but what else are you doing? Is there anything else you're doing that convinces you?
Alright, let's talk about my products.
What's said at this table can't go to the competitors.
I think you're safe.
Alright?
We're not entrepreneurs. I'll give you the tip.
Let's talk about my products. So over the past few months I've been looking into a strategy that diversifies my products. A lot of businesses like the Good Guys and Harvey Norman only sell electrical retail products such as washing machines, kitchenware, toasters, small appliances, brownwares, which is your TVs and stuff like that. I am actually looking into flat pack kitchens. Flat pack kitchens are a thing of the future, and they're an easy, installable, cheap way to install a kitchen.
Like IKEA.
Like Bunnings, like Masters, IKEA, but I'll add another dimension to my store by bringing in flat pack kitchens. And even in a few months, I'll start displaying the flat pack kitchens with the actual products, the cooking products such as induction, range hoods, ovens, onto my kitchens, so customers, when they come in, they can see my kitchens and they can choose what type of kitchen they would like with what type of products.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I mean, that does sound quite entrepreneurial, I must admit. Okay. So, obviously, you're not getting any younger.
A bit rich coming from you.
Yeah, fair enough, fair point.
A few grey hairs there, mate.
Fair point, but, at the end of the day, eventually you're gonna have to do something with this business, And entrepreneurs, they don't just, they need to have some sort of plan to move forward. What have you got put in place?
Can I talk about that?
Oh, go on, let's tell them. Maybe we'll get out of here that way.
So are you talking about an exit strategy?
Well, succession.
Succession.
Have you got a succession plan?
My client doesn't have a succession plan in place. He has an exit strategy in place. All
The reason why I don't want
Exit strategy.
Exit strategy.
So, our records indicate that you've got 2 kids, or two siblings under the age of 10. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
So
my kids got anything to do with this?
Well, as an entrepreneur, we would assume, and what the theory in regards to entrepreneurs focuses on succession planning. So, surely with your 2 kids, you must have plans to succeed this business to them.
To be honest, mate, I don't want my kids following in the same footsteps as I have.
Why is that?
That's why I've adopted an exit strategy instead of a succession plan. Look, mate, I'm willing to tell you my exit strategy, but as long as you don't tell my competitors.
We won't tell them. This is all confidential information.
Yeah, we've heard that. Heard that before.
You've got no choice. We need to either tell us or we go to court, Mr. Kambouris.
Okay. I've adopted an exit strategy because I believe, from the facts that I established, that there's a 30% success rate in second generation.
Only 30%?
30%.
So you mean 3 out of 10 will succeed and 7 out of 10 will fail?
That's exactly right for the second generation, which is me. In my third generation, which is my sons, they take over the business, it's going to be even less.
Even less? It's tough. So and that's the reason you're going to get out?
That's the reason why I'm going to get out. Plus, I don't want my children taking over a business that is draining. I work 90 hours a week, even up to 120 hours a week. I want them to have a life as well.
Okay. Well, it's interesting. So what exactly, this exit strategy that you talk about, what's involved with that?
Well, Mr. Kambouris has established franchises in the hope that one day, in the not too distant future, they will be able to buy his business from him and continue on the Kambos name, continue to successfully operate in Western Australia.
So why don't you get out now?
Wants to make his business as profitable as possible before he looks to sell it.
So you're trying to grow the business to
Grow the business to get the
I believe
most
my
money.
business is still in the growth stage, so I have a lot of opportunities still to come.
Okay. So theoretically, could you sell the business now? Is it valuable at the moment?
Of course, my business is very valuable at the moment.
You've seen the turnover.
Okay.
But why stop now when I can go to so much more heights?
Well, I must admit, Mr. Kambouris, you surprised me. I definitely, for one, had you pegged as a small business owner. Our conversation today has been very enlightening, and on a few fronts, on a number of fronts, you've presented as an entrepreneur.
It's because he is. My client is an entrepreneur.
I would almost regret to say that we've brought you in here under false pretenses.
As we told you all along.
You, let's just put this one down to you being a scapegoat on this occasion.
That's right.
I hope you don't mind being a scapegoat, Mr. Kambouris.
Just as long as everyone knows that I'm an entrepreneur, not a small business owner.
You do realise this could be good publicity.
Well, let's hope so.
So I think wrapping it up for the record, based on your ability to grow the business, your franchising, the fact that you picked up your entrepreneurial traits from your father, and you're looking at succession planning, there's a number of areas that you're showing entrepreneurial traits, Mr. Kambouris, much to our surprise, and I'm sure much to your relief, we're going to let you go, a free man.
Right. We can uncuff my client right now.
To jail, I've got a few keys here.
Just as long as they come off in the next 5 minutes, we won't have a problem.
We won't be pressing charges.
We can do anything to defend a man of your size, Mr. Kambouris.
All right. All right. Get your things. We're out of here, buddy. Let's go.
Many of you know, over the past few days, I was arrested for the charges of being a small business owner, when in fact I'm an entrepreneur. I've displayed all the right facts to the Curtin Police Department that determine I am an entrepreneur rather than a small business owner. I understand that they're only doing their job, and I hope they continue to do their job right. I was treated with respect and dignity over the past few days, and because of this, I'm willing to move on. The charges have been dropped, and for that I'm thankful. I'll now go on with continuing my entrepreneurial traits.